Hi there, neurodivergent and neurotypical people watching. Jordan here. Today, I'm going to describe the main symptoms of autistic spectrum condition. First and foremost, I would like to start with social communication skills. See, social interaction is very difficult very often for people on the spectrum. It shows up in various ways with different cases of the condition. It could range from having difficulty reading other people's emotions or emotional cues to avoiding communication altogether. Family gatherings, school, or work can be very, very stressful for an autistic person. It is a tremendous amount of stress for us to interact in social situations, to understand what other people are thinking, what are we supposed to say in given situations. We often have a hard time starting a conversation or talking about topics that don't really interest us, which can seem very rude. This includes the dreaded small talk for most of us. Showing affect or feeling emotions for other people can be very difficult for us sometimes. This is because sometimes it is very hard for us to perceive social cues such as hand gestures or facial expressions. And you have to understand this. It's not because we don't want to, it's a whole calculation going in our head during this time, but we just feel a lot of anxiety, and that's what's prohibiting us from doing so. Some autistic people may see others crying and they would not be able to react properly to that situation. All of this makes it incredibly difficult for us autistic people to make friends or to sustain friendships and be in relationships. This is often the major cause for us going into depression and feeling even more social anxiety. To add to that, finding work or keeping a job can be also very, very difficult for an autistic person, which also adds to the stress. Moving on to the next symptom, which is hyper or hyposensitivity to one or more of our senses. Smell, taste, sight, touch, or hearing can be over or understimulated in an autistic person. For example, I have a very hard time keeping my cool around loud noises such as vacuum cleaners or construction sites where they're drilling or hammering something, or car engines and motorbike engines just can get me to meltdowns very quickly. I also feel very, very unpleasant sensation when somebody is touching me from behind my back or even when I'm expecting the touch. So in this case, I'm hypersensitive to touch and hearing. My girlfriend, on the other hand, finds certain smells very disturbing, and bright and flickering lights can get her to melt down very easily. It's the same to how I am with sound. Although loud and obnoxious people trigger us both very frequently. So we're both hypersensitive in this case. However, it could also go the other way around. So one would need more stimuli in order to feel at ease. A person might need to touch a specific surface in order to make them feel calm. Taste can also create some weird eating habits, such as avoiding wet food, which I have, or of course, craving specific textures of food, like crunchiness, for example. The next symptom I want to talk about is self stimulatory behavior, or better known as stimming. This can include biting your nails, tapping your foot, tapping with your fingers, or fidgeting all the time, and many, many more. However, stimming can become a very dangerous symptom because it can help develop addictions. These addictions may be as innocent as overeating on snack or eating unhealthy food. However, they can even develop to smoking and drinking and other substance abuse. For example, when I started drinking and saw how it helped me with my anxiety, holding a drink in my hand became like a protective shield. I would often just sip from it, little sips, just to make me feel calm whenever in social situations I was expected to say something or behave in a certain way. And over years of doing that, this made me an alcoholic. My girlfriend and my brother, for example, developed smoking addiction. And my girlfriend, especially, she would keep her cigarette constantly next to her so that she can take a puff whenever she would feel uncomfortable. And my brother, for instance, at family gatherings, he would just start rolling cigarettes whenever he would not feel at ease. So, all of this is due to the fact that stimming or self stimulatory behavior is used by us autistic people to calm ourselves down. To calm ourselves down both from social anxiety and from any kind of sensory overload. And usually, when a person on the spectrum starts stimming excessively, this is a big sign for an upcoming meltdown. Being keen on sameness and having a routine is another one of the main symptoms I'm going to cover. People who are not autistic may not very well understand this symptom initially, but let me explain. Having things the same way every day, every week, every month just feels very comfortable for us. It puts us at ease. We like doing things the same way, talking to the same people the same way like before, and whenever that goes out of control, it's just a big amount of stress for us. We're used to having a set schedule, going through the same routes to work or just taking a walk wherever we feel comfortable. Having our routine messed up is a nightmare. We just don't know how to react to it. So, this is very often the cause for meltdowns or shutdowns, both of which I'm going to cover in later videos. And you have to understand this, it's not that we don't like to try new things or do things in a new way, it's just that the condition is very much fear-based. So we are afraid that if something screws up, we don't have a proper reaction to it. We don't have a proper solution for it. And of course, we're constantly trying to diminish the probability of something going out of control and thus just creating an anxious situation for us to deal with. Last but not least, I want to touch on the subject of restricted or special interests. I don't really agree with people calling them restricted interests because, yeah, we tend to preoccupy ourselves with a given topic for a big amount of time. It could be weeks, months, years, or even a lifetime. But you have to understand that's a way to become experts in a topic. And that's how geniuses are made, because a lot of geniuses are autistic. Doesn't matter if it's people in science or in art. For example, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Titanic. I had a miniature model of it. I was constantly watching documentaries and reading articles whenever they would come up. I was just trying to feed my brain with everything I could find about the ship and about the disaster. It didn't make me a genius on the topic, but it was one of my very dear special interests when I was a kid. So, as a parent or as a friend, you should never ever try to keep away an autistic person from their special interest. On the contrary, try to encourage them and see what comes out of it, because with at least one of them, it may end up being their life mission. These are the main symptoms of autistic spectrum condition. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about the minor ones. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Thank you for your time, and peace be with you.